Hello, for this video, we're going to talk about how to make your rich content editor or RCE accessible. This is any of the pages that you have in Canvas. So the good thing about Canvas is that when you have an assignment, when you have a discussion, when you have an announcements, they all use the rich content editor. So this is going to be the same for all of them. Now, if you see right here, we have an inaccessible announcement. And you can start seeing, because I know that you're becoming an expert now, you can start seeing the problems already. What are the problems? We have the different colors. That's a bad contrast. We're using Times New Roman. That's not a good font. And we have all these different things all over the place as far as the red font. And you also seem to have an image that's hiding in here. Now, if you want to do this the easy way, you don't even have to do any rich content editing. You simply go select on everything you've got here, or you could even just click on the button and do Control A if you're actually using a PC, or Command A if you're using an Apple product, and you've selected everything. Now, if you go down here, you'll see the accessibility checker, and it will tell you all the different things. It says a text that's too small, and it also wants you to change the color, and it has all of these different issues, and you can select the right color and click Apply, but I want to show you the easier way to do that. So that's if you want to go through with each little thing and learn it. But you can also just say, just fix it for me. And that's this little button right up here. It says clear formatting. Click on that. It will clear all the formatting, and voila, you start seeing your accessibility go from a 30 to a 75. Now you want to be making sure that everything is at least a 12 font, and it is. So you might say, well, what is still missing? Well, that's this bad image. Now the image doesn't even look good right now. So we'll click back on that, and all of a sudden you're going to start seeing 100%. Now, I personally like to make sure that I put things as headers because I think it kind of makes things pop a little bit more, although they just made it a 12 font. And I also do like putting on an image. Images just to give something a little bit fun. So for instance, we'll look at this chapter. I'm going to go to the images that I already have saved in the course because I know that I've actually made them good. You can't upload an image. Remember, if you upload an image, you're going to need to put on alt text, or you can pick the images which are already in the course. In this particular case, I know that I've picked some that are in good shape, and I'll find something that looks good. We're talking about exercise this week, so why don't we pick this little image. You can resize it if you want it to be bigger or smaller. I like a little bit smaller. Now, you can also, if you do like highlighting, I personally like to make sure that people see each one as a different thing to sort of a little highlight. So I like to remind them the discussion. And I use blue for the discussion. For the Healthy Change project, I use a purple. Now you may be noticing for reading textbooks, I like to use a yellow. I'm adding a new topic this week, and that I like to highlight in green. Now you may notice with all of these highlights, I am using just the top row of the highlights. You can figure out by doing it yourself. If you use some of the darker colors, nobody can read that. So I'm not going pastel because it's a girly thing. I'm going pastel because it will allow you to highlight and show the difference as well as allowing students to read. So by going through, you've kind of highlighted everything. You're at 75%. So let's check to see what that last thing is. And it's brought up a bad alternative text. So let's make sure that we actually put that in here. So we'll say green apple and pink hand weights with measuring tape. Remember, you could have also just clicked on mark as decorative if that's what you wanted to do, but I like adding a little bit of fun for students, whether they can see the words or whether they're having the words read to them. So that's just one way to quickly go through. And again, we're doing the same sort of things we talked about before. We're using headers, we're using alt text. Again, these things repeat. We're making sure we use a font that's good. We're making sure we use the highlights that aren't that different. So again, you can go through. I took a little bit more time than you actually needed because I wanted to make it a little bit more fun. But if you go to, for example, my next page is learning objectives. In that case, I might say, I'm not going to spend as much time on this, but clearly these objectives are things you can't actually see as a student. So again, we're going to go select them all, and we're just going to use that happy, clear formatting. And immediately we've gone up to 100%. Again, always good to organize things and have headings. Now, I haven't had to change much here because I already had it as a list. But if you had a list like this and it wasn't numbered, then I would strongly recommend that you make sure that you have numbered that list. So you have a numbered list, or, oh, in this case, it wasn't actually numbered, that you have a numbered list, or that you have bullets, because that's going to make it easier for the screen reader. And again, in this case, I picked up something that Ally didn't pick up, which is, while I did have numbers in here, they were actually written in by me in the old school way. And you want to make sure that you're actually using the numbers or the bullets, because that's going to help with your screen readers. And that's another example of screen readers don't always pick up everything, and Ally doesn't always pick up everything. But remember, when we look at accessibility, accessibility is not a destination, it is a process. So realize that by going through and doing some of these things, it's going to bring up our accessibility report quite a lot. Now, we always check back to see how we're doing so far on accessibility. So we'll check back with our accessibility report, see where we're at right now. And we are at, see if we can refresh. It's telling me 89%. So we're at 89%. Again, this is taking a little bit longer because I'm being detailed and I'm starting to add the stuff that I think is just a little bit more fun, makes my course a bit more exciting. But you can see all of those different areas. You can just go in and edit within each one of those, and you will start getting a better course, more accessible for students, and they can start seeing what they need in order to succeed. If you have any other questions, any tips, hopefully you'll check out my next video. We're then going to start going into how to look at Word documents and how to look at PowerPoints to make those better.